What did you think of your performance last night?
Yeah, first, I think with Mamdani, you're right. I think Mamdani got exposed. There's no there with Mamdani. He changes his answers. And I think it was obvious yesterday. I got a chance to call him on a few of them, and he did a total flip-flop. And, he's got that used car salesman grin.
Oh, I hated that.
Yeah,
Oh,
don't worry. This is a cream puff. It was owned by a little old lady, this car. Only drove it to church on Sunday. Yeah, give me a break. But let's get real. Curtis is a major factor in the race, but not for the reason you think. Curtis cannot win. No Republican voted to put Curtis on the ballot. No Democrat voted to put Curtis on the ballot. He was put on by the party bosses, the Republican county chairs. That's why I kept talking about Pataki and Giuliani, because they're the party establishment. And they put Curtis on because he is a spoiler. And they want Mamdani to win. And I'm telling you, Sid, straight talk. They want Mamdani to win because it is good for the Republican Party politically. They'll take Mamdani, they'll run him around the country, they'll run him around the state. They'll say, look at how crazy this Democratic Party is. They voted for this 33-year-old socialist. He doesn't have any idea what he's doing. He's anti-cop, anti-business, anti-Semitic. It will work for them politically, but they will kill the city. And Curtis is just a spoiler. He cannot win. You vote for Curtis, just save yourself the time and vote for Mamdani. That's what this is. And that's all he talked about, Pataki and Giuliani. Yes, he's the candidate of the Republican Party chairs. And what Republicans and your listeners are going to have to decide is what's more important. Voting for a Republican because I'm a Republican and I'm going to vote Republican, even though you're electing Mamdani, because your partisan loyalty is more important than your loyalty to the city, because they know if they elect Mamdani, he's told them what he's going to do. There will be a mass exodus from this city. It will never be the same. You defund the police, you close Rikers. He's talking about releasing 7,000 people from Rikers in 2027 when it closes. There are no new jails, right?
Let's stick with that for 1 second, Andrew, because there was a time when you wanted to close Rikers too. But, correct me if I'm wrong, you reversed on that, right? You want to keep Rikers open.
I didn't reverse. Curtis is full of crap. Rikers is an island. And it's a set of buildings. When I say close Rikers, close the buildings. Build new buildings. The buildings stink. There's no problem with the island. Build new buildings rather than these county jails. So when I said close Rikers, it was close the buildings. They're outdated. They don't work. Build a state-of-the-art jail, but build it on Rikers. And forget these county jails that have all the boroughs up in arms. They're years late, billions over budget. Just rebuild on Rikers.
Right. Makes sense.
That was always my plan.
Yeah. So
and that is a common sense plan.
Right. I got a text here from, I'm not going to name who this person is, but they're in government here in New York. And they said Curtis did not have a primary because he was the only Republican with the balls to run and because he would have crushed Eric Adams in a GOP primary, or the guy from Junior, is the guy Rosen, I guess. We didn't pick him because we wanted Mamdani to win. Mamdani was at 2% in the polls when Curtis was nominated. What do you say to that?
I say that a Republican is not going to win mayor of New York City. It is not going to happen. Mike Bloomberg, different. Curtis Sliwa, no. You want to like him, guardian angel. He knows the trains, can draw the subway map, good on train safety. Great. Make him the train safety czar. But qualifications to run for mayor? That's it. I don't want to get into it. He has the financial qualifications to run the city, the way he's run his finances. He has the legal standing. He has the background. He has the credibility. Come on.
Well, I do notice this, though. I do notice this. You were on the show last Friday. I want to move off Curtis, but you were on the show last Friday. You did not attack Curtis at all. And even last night, when Curtis came at you, which he did tell me he was going to do, he's a man of his word. I love him for that. He did tell me he was going to do it, and he did it. I didn't get a lot of backfire from you. So, for what it's worth, it seemed...
I didn't attack him because he's irrelevant. There is no Curtis as a candidate. There's Curtis as a spoiler. That's what this is.
But then he's not. But admit this, Andrew. He can't be irrelevant. If you had, for example, Curtis's percentage, you'd have a better chance of winning this.
If Curtis is not in the race, I win. And that's the choice for the Republicans. Do you vote for Curtis so you can say, I voted Republican and wind up electing Mamdani? Or do you vote for me? And well, Cuomo, you're a Democrat. First of all, put this Democrat-Republican polarization aside, okay? We're talking about mayor of New York. Fiorello LaGuardia, there's no Democratic or Republican way to pick up the garbage. I get stuff done. I manage the government. When that new LaGuardia Airport, Republicans go in there too. The new Second Avenue subway, Republicans go in there too. The new Kosciuszko Bridge, Republicans go in there too. Lower middle class taxes, Republicans go in there too. When I saved lives during Hurricane Sandy, those were Republican lives too. It's not Democrat-Republican. It's who's going to fix this city. Who's going to hire the cops? Who's going to clean up the subways? Who knows how to get something done? That's what this is about. That's what it should be for a Republican. But it's all politics always. And what the Republican bosses want, Giuliani, Pataki, they want Mamdani because they'll run against assemblymen and senators and Congress people, and they'll use Mamdani as the poster boy. I get the politics. I've done it all my life. Yes, it's good Republican politics for Mamdani to win. It's death for New York City. So pick it.
One of the things you did, one of the things you did very well last night, talking about picking death for New York City, and I gave you credit for this last night. You were relentless on the Israel stuff. I mean, you gave them ample opportunity time and time again not to recognize Israel as a state. People get that wrong. Recognize Israel as a Jewish state. I'm glad you did that because people get that wrong. And again, the opportunity to condemn the Intifada. And no matter how many times you asked him, now eventually he did kind of denounce Hamas, but he wouldn't denounce Hamas until he could mention genocide when it came to Israel. So time and time again, you gave this creep the opportunity last night to make Jewish people like me feel like, okay, if God forbid he wins, it'll be okay. And he failed miserably. You were relentless with that, yes.
Yes, he won't do it. His position on Israel and Gaza is clear. He will not do it. He was on Fox TV the other day. They said, do you believe Hamas should disarm? His answer was, I think New York should be affordable. What? He won't answer clearly, but he won't deviate. Why? Because he's from the Democratic Socialists of America, DSA. Nobody knows what it means, but it's an offshoot of the Democratic Party that's trying to take control, and they are anti-Israel, period. Same thing with the police. He is anti-cop. Well, I only said that after George Floyd defund, disarm, disband the police. The police are wicked. The police are corrupt. The police are a threat to public safety. The police are anti-queer. You didn't say that at George Floyd. You said it in 2023, 2024. You just said it. You changed, you scrubbed your website. He uses this line. The only thing that's relevant is on my website. Yeah, I know, and you change your website every day. No, what's relevant is what you said and the video of the words coming out of your mouth. He's anti-cop. He is.
No, I know. Not just George Floyd. He mentioned a couple of real special people. Michael Brown, really? Eric Garner. I know he's dead, but give me a break. Sean Bell. So he ran down a litany of a bunch of criminals. He clearly sides with the criminals. The cops are the bad guys. But like Mike Brown, for example, he tried to grab the cop's gun in Ferguson, Missouri. He was going to kill that cop. Somehow Mike Brown's a good guy, and that cop, whose life has been destroyed, by the way, Andrew, he had to move out of St. Louis. No one knows where he is. He's the bad guy. He proved it last night. You don't run down a list of criminals in your defense of the cops.
100%. And look, do you have a right to demonstrate? Yes, the right to demonstrate, and the police have interfered with the right to demonstrate. No, you have the right to demonstrate. You had no right to destroy public property and to stop Jewish kids from going to school and intimidate and harass. But the police were the problem. No, the people who broke the law protesting were the problem. So he is clear who he is. And even though those debates are infuriating because the commentators don't really push, right?
Not only did I not push, but I got to say this, and I'm going to defend Curtis here. I'm sorry. They allowed you and Mamdani to go back and forth a lot, and most of you were defending yourself, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You were defending yourself. Curtis couldn't get a word in for like 30 minutes. Now, I don't care whether you think he's irrelevant or relevant. I don't care. There were 3 people on stage, and all 3 people should get equal time. So, and I like David Ushery. He's a very sweet guy, Andrew. He's a very nice guy. They lost control. They did not give Curtis his fair share, and they allowed the other 2 guys to beat the living daylights out of you. That wasn't a very good job.
Well, the rules are when one guy attacks another guy, the other guy gets 30-second rebuttal. So, yes, it was me attacking Mamdani and Mamdani attacking me, and yes, we got the rebuttal time because the race is between me and Mamdani. That's why. Mamdani wasn't attacking Curtis, and I wasn't attacking Curtis. Because it's not about Curtis. It's just not. He is there as a spoiler. That's why they put him there. And you notice it's the party bosses. You go to Republicans. You go to your listeners, by the way. I would challenge you with your listeners. When I talk to Republicans, they get it. They get it. They can say they like Curtis or whatever, but they know he doesn't have a shot, and they know he's just going to take enough votes to make Mamdani a winner. They know what's going on.
So you telling me that this stays a 3-man race because Curtis Sanders is going to be there Wednesday, all right? New York won. I can't stand Darrell Lewis, by the way, but he's going to be there Wednesday for that second debate. So are you telling me that you don't necessarily see a path to victory for yourself if Curtis stays in the race? Can you win? Because I don't see him dropping. But let's say, can he stay in the race? If he stays in the race, can you still win?
Very, very, very hard. Mathematically. Okay. Very, very hard.
That's honest. Okay.
And they know that. And that's why they're keeping him. Now, there's no way he wins. But all he can do is make Mamdani a winner. That is all he can do. And that's why the bosses are keeping him there. And that's why when you say, well, Trump doesn't want Mamdani to win. You know what Trump would do? One phone call. You call the chairman of the Republican Party, Cox, and you say, I want the guy out of the race. You put him there. You're 5 Republican chairmen. I want him out of the race. The Republican Party says, for the good of the city of New York that the Republicans really care about, we want you out of the race. That's what would happen here.
Let me ask you this. If I got, this is a crazy hypothetical, and odds are I could never do this, okay? Even me, right? I can't even do it. But if by some miracle, I was able to convince Curtis, because I still talk to him 4 or 5 times a day. I love the guy. If I was able to convince Curtis, do me a favor, Curtis, Monday, 12:30. Meet me at Fresco. We like that place. You're closer to Rosanna like I am. Meet me at Fresco at 12:30 on Monday. It's going to be 3 of us. Me, you, and Andrew Cuomo. And we're going to talk about this race moving forward, about 2 weeks to go. We'll talk about all the things you and I just discussed on this show. What Andrew Cuomo be interested in doing something like that?
Look, yeah, I'd like to have a nice lunch, and the food is delicious, and I like, it says we got to have fun. To what end? To what end? Curtis says what he says. I have Rudy Giuliani, I have George Pataki, I'm the Republican. A Republican has a right to run. True. All true. My question is, to what end? To what end? The city is in a very delicate position. You'll see an exodus from this city that we will never be able to correct in our lifetime. Look at Chicago. Look at Portland. Look at what is happening. And Trump will take over New York if Mamdani wins. But that's a mess. It's not like Trump is going to come in and take over New York and everything is going to work well. That is going to be a civil war and disrupt everything. And people are going to say, let me get out of here. That is what is going to happen. I don't do a lot of things in life. I've done this one thing all my life. I know government. I know Trump. I know the federal government. I know the state government. I know the city government. That is what is going to happen. And then Curtis can say and go on and say, well, I was the Republican candidate and I was carrying the Republican banner, and Rudy Giuliani and George Pataki, they're the Republican banner carriers, and they handed it to me and they told me to carry it. And I went and I talked about the guardian angels and the Republican Party. Yeah, and you elected Mamdani. And now where are we?
Well, let me ask you this on the way out. There's a lot of investigations going on. I know you know this. There's a lot of money that ended up in this Mamdani campaign. And like John Catsimatidis said on this show Monday, he'll never serve a day as mayor. He really believes that. I'm not sure I do, because I've heard this a million times. You know, Hillary and de Blasio and his wife, they're all going to prison. But all these investigations, if in fact they find something in Mamdani can't serve, do you get that gig as the runner-up, or is there another election between you, Curtis, and who knows who else?
That never happens. I know that theory. That never happens. His name is on the ballot, Mamdani. If he wins the election, let Trump indict him, go through a case. A year and a half, 2 years, 3 years later, after the appeals, we'll figure it out. In the meantime, there will be a civil war, holy war, with the president trying to interfere with a Democratic election in New York City.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And it would be a mess.
I think you're right.
There is no way you foreclose what's going to happen on election day.
Yeah.
No way.
I think you're right. So, yeah, go ahead.
Just not to leave a misperception. On the police, on the defunding of the police, look, if there's any bad cop, bad active police brutality, of course we take action. And I passed laws that increased disciplinary actions against cops. But protesters have to respect the law. And if they don't, then we have to have the police take action.
So on the way out, knockout punch. Like, we know, look, I'm getting texts right now. This is the guy bail reform. This is the guy nursing homes. Oh, that's never going away, okay? And it comes up every debate, and it comes up every time you speak. And I don't want to make light of any of that, because serious consequences, we've seen them, and you've apologized for some of this stuff. But in the end, you're running, you're in second place, and you do have some momentum. But do you feel like you delivered that knockout punch last night? And if not, are you brewing up something for Wednesday night? The
problem with the three people on the stage is Curtis. Look, I don't attack Curtis again because he's irrelevant. Mamdani doesn't attack Curtis, but it doesn't allow Mamdani and me to just have a one-on-one exchange, right? Because Mamdani has no answers if you can actually follow up. He's glib and he's facile. So you have to be able to call him on it.
Right.
And with Curtis there attacking both, saying whatever he's saying, even if you ignore him, it still winds up disrupting the debate between me and Mamdani. And you can say, well, he's a Republican and he has a place on the stage. Yes, he does. But I just want to be a little reality-based, Sid. To what end? This is about saving the city. That's what this is about. You want to talk about cashless bail, which, by the way, there was never any such thing as cashless bail. We always had cash bail for serious crimes. But you want to talk about bail reform that I passed 6 years ago? 6 years ago? And then the law was changed 3 times since then, but they still want to talk about a law that now doesn't even exist. Okay, we've talked about it ad nauseum. This is about tomorrow, not yesterday. And we know damn well what we're looking at. We're looking at Mamdani, who is Bill de Blasio 2, same positions, freeze the rent, close Rikers, legalize prostitution, which he lied about last night and got caught. Bill de Blasio 2, no management experience whatsoever, all rhetoric, all theory, all political ideology, the worst mayor in modern history.
Yeah.
That's who Mamdani is.
Yep.
With a grin
right.
and a little shorter. That's all.
You're right. I hate that grin. On steroids. He's de Blasio on steroids. Andrew, good job last night. Very good. Great job here this morning. And I will see you and speak to you very, very soon. I'm trying to make my way into that second debate on Wednesday night. Errol Lewis hates me. Mamdani hates me, so we'll see. But nice job this morning and nice job last night. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, sir. Thank you.
All right, pal. There he is, the former governor, now mayoral candidate, Andrew Cuomo.